You know that feeling when you're hiding in your corporate bathroom, scrolling through Instagram, looking at all these women who've made it, the ones who've left their 9 to 5 and built something of their own? That moment when you think next year will be different. I had that same thought for 6 years straight. But here's the thing about next year. It never comes unless you do something different. And I mean really different. It's not about just dreaming about it during your lunch break, if you actually take one, which, by the way, you should start doing. And it's not just setting another New Year's resolution that fades by February. In July 2021, I finally stopped saying next year. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to make 2025 the year you actually leave corporate, not just dream about it. Because there's a massive difference between wanting to quit your job and actually doing it. And there are 5 pillars to bridge that gap.
Welcome to How to Quit Your Job, a mom's guide to creating a life and business you love. It's a podcast that helps working moms just like you optimize your time, manage your mind, and start a business that helps you create more freedom, flexibility, and yes, fun. I'm business and mindset coach Jenna Reichel, and I offer practical tips to help you ditch the 9 to 5. I've been exactly where you are, and I know what it takes to make the transition without trading one form of burnout for another. So let's get started.
Hello, mom friends. I know you're probably stealing a few quiet minutes right now, maybe during your commute or while you're folding laundry. And I'm so glad you found this episode because this is going to change everything. It's the end of the year, so you've probably been thinking about how different things could be next year. And that feeling that 2025 needs to be different, it's not just restlessness. I promise it's readiness. I've been exactly where you are. Like I said, for 6 years, 6 whole years, I sat in my corporate leadership role, knowing deep down it wasn't my forever path. Every December, I'd rate my job satisfaction, and year after year, I never gave it more than a 5 out of 10. The title was there, the paycheck was stable, but something was missing. For 6 years, I told myself next year will be different. But it wasn't until July 2021 that I finally made the leap. And you know what? The only thing I regret is not having the framework I'm about to share with you sooner. Because here's what I learned. There's a massive difference between wanting to quit your job and actually doing it. And actually doing it is not about perfect timing or having everything figured out. It's about 5 key pillars that I've seen make or break the transition. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to bridge that gap between wanting to quit your job and actually doing it. And I'm so very excited about this episode because this is the secret sauce. It's what has worked for me and for my clients to make massive changes. And so I want you to listen, soak it in, listen again, and then start executing. Let's talk about the first practical pillar, which is planning for success. Yes, you need a plan to get to your goal. You need to decide your goal and map out how you're going to get there, even if it's a loose plan. Think about it like this. When you need to go somewhere you've never been, you don't just hop in your car and drive aimlessly. No, you put the destination in your GPS. You have to know where you want to go before you can start the journey to get from A to B. Now, if you caught episode 28, you already know there is no one right way to build a business. There's no one-size-fits-all blueprint. When you put a destination in your GPS, what happens? It doesn't give you one route. It shows you 3 or 4 different ways to get there. And here's something I want you to consider. There are actually thousands of possible routes to your destination, but your GPS shows you the most efficient ones, the ones that make the most sense for your situation. Actually leaving corporate and building your exit plan works exactly the same way. There are countless paths to whatever success means to you, whether that's a 6-figure consulting business, more time with your kids, or starting that sustainable clothing line you've dreamed of. But here's what separates the dreamers from the doers. You need a clear strategy in the form of a plan. And let me be really clear here. Throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, that's not a plan. Hope, also not a plan. You got to create your version of a business plan. When I work with clients, we create a business plan that becomes their North Star. But this isn't a typical stuffy business plan. This is a conversation that turns into a document that answers not just the what and how, but the critical question of when. We set clear milestones, revenue targets, and action steps that make sense for your life, your schedule, and your goals. But here's something nobody tells you about having a solid plan. It's not just about mapping your route to success. It's about having something that's concrete to hold on to when your mind starts throwing up all these what ifs and but maybes. When doubt creeps in, and it absolutely will, your plan becomes this powerful tool that keeps you moving forward. I want you to think of it like having a workout plan at the gym. On the days when you're feeling motivated, great. But on the days when you're tired and your mind is telling you to skip it, that's when your plan becomes your best friend. You don't have to think. You just have to follow the next step in your plan. But even the best plan in the world won't work if you can't find the time to execute it. Which brings us to the second pillar and what might be your biggest concern right now: time optimization. Oh, time. That thing none of us have enough of. I want to share something revolutionary here. And this is a hot take. You actually have all the time you need. Yes, really. Even with a corporate job, a family, and everything else on your plate. The secret isn't finding more time. It's taking back control of the time you have. When you have a structured approach to planning and executing everything in your week, you go from feeling constantly overwhelmed to confidently in control. Instead of letting your calendar happen to you, you need to deliberately plan every hour of your week in advance. I'm talking about sitting down every Sunday and deciding exactly when you'll work on your business, when you'll handle corporate responsibilities, and when you'll be fully present with your family. I recommend 1 hour of planning each week, and this 1 hour of focused planning will absolutely change your life. It is the most immediate difference maker for all of my clients once they learn a consistent time management process that they can stick to. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what about when things come up? And yes, the life of a mom is filled with uncertainties and surprises. But when you plan in advance, you're no longer reacting to life. You are responding to it. When something unexpected happens, you simply reschedule that task to another time slot. It's like playing Tetris with your calendar. You're just moving the pieces around. And here's what nobody tells you. It's not about perfect execution. It's about having a clear plan each week and adjusting as needed. My most successful clients typically follow their time plan about 70% of the time. And that's more than enough to create massive results. I recommend that my moms start with just 2 hours of deliberate business building time each week. So not squeezed in multitasking time, but real focused time that you plan and protect to work on your business. And here's what's fascinating. When you start planning in this way, you'll discover pockets of time you didn't even know you had to work on your business. If time management is an area you feel you struggle with, I also recommend listening to episodes 5, 12, and or episode 18. You can go to jenna.coach/episode number to find those episodes. And if you're not sure whether or not you struggle with it, that's okay too. I've created a free assessment that I'll link in the show notes where you can rate yourself within these 5 pillars to really understand what needs most of your attention to start 2025. The method I teach clients has them planning every hour of their week in advance because this helps to eliminate the mental energy spent on constant decision-making throughout the week. When we talked about planning for success in the first pillar, we were talking about a big picture plan to get to our final destination and really knowing what that final destination is. When we're talking about optimizing time, we're talking about planning the minutia each week. And of course, I'm biased to the method I teach, but ultimately, I want you to have some system that you're following and sticking to religiously each week. You need to prioritize systems over willpower in 2025 if you want to actually quit your job. And I don't so much care what that system is or what that time management tool is, but I want you to have one. So then you might be thinking, but what exactly should I be doing with this time? Some of it is decided in the big picture planning, right? But there are also smaller, more consistent things you can do to move closer to actually quitting your job in 2025. And this is where our third pillar comes in. And I love this part because it completely transforms how you think about building a business. And it's what I call meaningful action.
Hey moms, just jumping in real quick. If what I'm sharing resonates with you and you're ready to make real changes in your life, I'd love to support you. Through my one-on-one coaching program, I help moms just like you create the strategy and accountability needed to build a business and life you love. Ready to explore what's possible? The link to apply for a free strategy session is in the show notes. And if you're not quite ready for coaching, please join our free Mom Entrepreneur Circle, a community of moms who get it. All the links are waiting for you in the show notes. Go to jenna.coach/episode number to check it out. Now, let's get back to today's episode.
You know those Couch to 5K programs that transform non-runners into confident runners? Meaningful action is exactly like that. So think about it. No one goes from sitting on their couch to running a 5K overnight. It starts with small, manageable runs, maybe just 60 seconds at a time. Each week builds on the last, and before you know it, you're running distances you never thought possible. Building your business works the same way. I see so many corporate moms think they need to make these massive, dramatic moves, like having their entire business figured out or landing 5 clients right away. But just like trying to run a 5K on day 1 would probably leave you discouraged and sore, trying to do everything at once in your business is a recipe for overwhelm and burnout. So instead, we focus on smaller confidence-building actions. These are small, consistent steps that help you build the habit and identity of being a business owner. And I call that meaningful action. When I first started my business, I spent 15 minutes each morning reaching out to people in my network. Some I had kept in touch with and others I'd met but never had a one-on-one conversation with. And 15 minutes, that's it. It seemed almost too small at first, but you know what? Those small actions compound. Within a few months, I had expanded my network and built credibility among other entrepreneurs and potential clients. Many of my first clients were referrals from people I'd connected with in those first months. The beautiful part about this approach is that it doesn't feel overwhelming because it builds gradually, just like building up from running 60 seconds to running a full 5K. This is particularly powerful when you've only seen yourself in corporate. Just like your muscles need to adapt to running, your identity needs to adapt to being an entrepreneur. Every small action you take, whether it's drafting your first proposal, having your first discovery call, or posting your first piece of content, it's like adding another minute to your running time. It's building your entrepreneurial muscles. Remember, a business isn't built on one massive action. It's built on hundreds of small, consistent actions taken day after day. And if you're struggling to come up with what those small actions could be, I created a free resource that gives you 54 ideas to get the juices flowing. So make sure you go to jenna.coach/30, because this is episode 30, to check that out. The next pillar is mind management. Every result you want to create in your life is either accelerated or derailed by your mind and your thinking. Okay? When you think this is never going to happen, you avoid doing the work. When you think this is what I'm meant to be doing, you find the time to make it happen. Let me share a powerful example. One of my clients came to me feeling stuck, convinced she wasn't successful enough to start her own business. The irony, she didn't even have a clear definition of what success meant to her. She was measuring herself against this vague, undefined standard and letting it stop her from moving forward. When we use the framework I teach to examine these thoughts, we discovered something fascinating. Her undefined idea of success was creating feelings of inadequacy and uncertainty. And those feelings, they were stopping her from taking any meaningful action towards building her business. But watch what happened when we shifted the lens. We took a step back and asked a simple but powerful question. What does success actually mean to you? Not to your colleagues, not to society, but to you. That's when everything changed. She realized that true success for her meant having the flexibility and freedom to make money while being the kind of mom she wanted to be. Suddenly, starting her business wasn't just another goal. It was the very definition of success that she'd been searching for. This isn't just positive thinking or reframing. This is a systemic way to understand why you're stuck and exactly how to get unstuck. I teach my clients a specific tool that helps them identify these thought patterns and intentionally choose and embody new ones that serve their goals. This is another place where having a specific system or tool is helpful, but this can be simple. It's about slowing down to notice your thoughts, being aware of the sentences in your mind, and understanding how that's impacting your actions. If you want to dive deeper into this pillar, I recommend episodes 8, 19, 27, and or 28. This systemic approach to managing your mind is powerful, but here's the truth. Even with all the right tools and techniques, trying to do this alone is like trying to cut your own hair. Is it possible? Yes, you can do it. Advisable? Absolutely not. This brings us to our final and most crucial pillar, the one that makes everything else possible: accountability. And you know that saying, it takes a village? Well, somewhere along the way, we moms got the message that we're supposed to do everything alone, that asking for help somehow makes us less capable. And let me tell you, that's absolutely backwards. Think about this. In generations past, women were surrounded by entire communities helping them navigate motherhood, career, and life's biggest transitions. Today, we're expected to figure it out all on our own between Zoom meetings and gymnastics. But here's the truth. Successful women, especially successful moms, don't do it alone. They build what I like to call their board of directors, a carefully chosen group of mentors, friends, and professionals who help them navigate different aspects of their journey. Personally, this has made all the difference for me. In my own life, I've seen the transformative power of having the right support. I used to be so hesitant to invest in myself in this way. But after entering into the coaching profession and seeing the true value of my own business coaches over the years, it's become second nature to add experts to my board of directors. After my first son was born, I hired a pelvic floor therapist to help me understand my postpartum body better. It's someone I still work with today, and it made my second birthing experience much less traumatizing on my body. More recently, my son Jude, who just turned 3 months, hasn't been responding well to my breast milk. Certainly a food allergy of some sort, so I reached out to a specialist on diet elimination who's helping me figure it all out. Another great example is that my husband and I are currently working with an education consultant to help us make informed decisions about our boys' educational future. Yes, they're young, but we want to know all the options available since we really don't think traditional education is going to be what's best for our family. All of these investments have paid off tenfold, not just in the results we got and are continuing to get, but in the stress they saved us, the time they gave us back, and even in making the complex and nuanced decisions more enjoyable. Here's what I want you to understand about building a business while leaving corporate. You're making decisions that will change the trajectory of your entire family's life. This isn't the time to go at it alone. This isn't the moment to figure it out through trial and error. Think about it. We're already making hundreds of decisions every day as moms. Decision fatigue is real. When it comes to something as important as creating a new future for yourself and your family, why wouldn't you want thought partners? Why wouldn't you want experts in your corner who've helped others navigate the same journey? Because here's the truth. Accountability isn't just about having someone check in on your goals. It's about having someone who can see your blind spots, challenge your limiting beliefs, and help you strategize when obstacles arise. It's about having someone who's been where you want to go, who can help you avoid the pitfalls and take the shortcuts. Let's do a quick recap of what we covered today, because these 5 pillars are your roadmap to actually leaving corporate in 2025. First, we talked about planning for success. You need to know where you want to go, and you need a path to get there, just like when you're using your GPS. Remember, there are thousands of possible routes to your destination. Your job isn't to find the perfect path. It's to choose one that makes sense for you and your family in this moment and to get going. Second, we covered time optimization. You don't need to find more time. You need to take control of the time you have. Start with those 2 dedicated hours each week of focused business building time. Plan everything in advance, and remember, 70% execution is enough to create massive results. The third pillar was all about meaningful action, the small, consistent steps that build your entrepreneurial muscles. Just like a couch to 5K, you're not sprinting on day one. You're building habits, confidence, and momentum through small, deliberate actions that compound over time. Fourth, we talked about mind management. Every result starts with a thought, and what's happening between your ears can either accelerate or derail your entire journey. And finally, we talked about the game changer, accountability. Stop cutting your own hair. Build your board of directors, those mentors, experts, and supporters who will help you navigate this transition. Remember, the difference between the corporate mom who dreams about leaving and the corporate moms who actually do it isn't talent, timing, or luck. It's having a framework that works and the support to implement it. So here's what I want you to do right now. First, download my corporate exit readiness assessment. I've put the link in the show notes, so go to jenna.coach/30. This will help you identify exactly where you are in your journey and what needs to happen next. We'll look at all of these pillars and we will see which ones you struggle with the most. And that's where I'll want you to start. And I'll give you specific actions and guidelines of how to start taking action and improving those pillars for yourself in 2025. Then, if you're serious about making 2025 the year you actually leave corporate, not just dream about it, I want to invite you to apply for a free strategy session with me. This strategy session is where we will map out your personal exit plan and determine if working together is the right fit for making it happen. Remember, I also host a free Mom Entrepreneur Circle where you can connect with other corporate moms on the same journey. The link to join is in the show notes as well. Don't let another year go by rating your job satisfaction a 5 out of 10. You deserve more than that, and your family deserves the best version of you, the one that lights up talking about her work, the one that has energy left for bedtime stories, and the one that's living her purpose. So until next week, remember, you're not just planning for a new year. You're planning for a new life.
Before we wrap up today's session, I want to talk to the mom who's been nodding along, feeling seen and understood. Maybe you've been thinking about leaving corporate and building your own business, but you're not sure where to start, or if it's even possible with everything else on your plate. I'm here to tell you it's possible. I've helped moms go from a vague business idea to replacing their corporate income, and I've supported others in discovering their passion and signing their first client, all while balancing working in corporate and balancing family. My one-on-one coaching program is intimate support and helps you develop the strategy and accountability you need to move your business forward. As a mom myself, I understand the unique challenges we face in prioritizing our own needs, and that's exactly why I specialize in working with moms just like you. If you're ready to explore what's possible, there's a link in the show notes to apply for a free strategy session. This isn't a pushy sales call. It's a genuine conversation to see if we're a good fit for each other. And if you're not quite ready for one-on-one coaching, you can join our free Mom Entrepreneur Circle, a supportive community of other moms who are on this same journey. The link to join is in the show notes as well.
Remember, you don't have to figure this out alone. Whether it's through the podcast, our free community, or working together one-on-one, I'm here to help you create a life and business you love. Now go take that next step. Whether it's big or small, just take it. I'll be here next week with more strategies and support to help you along the way.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of How to Quit Your Job, a mom's guide to creating a life and business you love. If you want to learn more about how I can help you stop making excuses and start making moves, head on over to www.jenna.coach. I'll see you next week.